watching Rugby Wrap-Up.
Coming up next on Rugby Wrap-Up, Matt McCarthy and Barry Herbert on all things Cape Town. Rugby Wrap-Up brought to you in part by Irish Rugby Tours, The Balanced Palate, AFIA Sports Training Group, and the Pig and Whistle on West 36th Street in New York City. Hey everybody, welcome back to Rugby Wrap-Up. Matt McCarthy at the Fantasy Sports Network, Studio 34 in Midtown Manhattan, and we are pleased to welcome Mr. Barry Herbert, calling in from South Africa. Barry is down there, A, to get his South African groove back on, and B, allowing us to live vicariously through him at the Cape Town Sevens. Barry, how are you?
Matt, I am great. We have had a fantastic weekend at the Cape Town Sevens, and it has just been an absolute blast to report for Rugby Wrap-Up out there. Lots and lots of fun, lots of talking points on the rugby, and plenty of talking points around the social as we covered that event for you guys here in Cape Town.
Yeah, we could see from your footage that it was just one huge rugby party with excellent rugby actually being played on the pitch. Crazy, crazy event. So I guess they'll be taking it back to George next year, right?
This event will be staying in Cape Town for the foreseeable future, Matt. I don't know the official attendance numbers. I will get those in the coming days, but I believe it was a sellout yet again, both Saturday and Sunday, and those numbers will be pushing close to 120,000 people for the weekend. It's just a phenomenal sight. The stadium itself is terrific. It's the same stadium that they used for the Soccer or Football World Cup in 2010 that was purpose-built for that event. And the great news is for Cape Town rugby fans and South African rugby fans is that they will be moving the rugby from the hallowed Newlands to this magnificent stadium in Greenpoint in Cape Town for future test matches and possibly Super Rugby. That will be happening, I believe, from 2019 onwards. So we will be having more rugby at this great ground. I'm sure you saw the visuals, very picturesque, beautiful weather, beautiful people everywhere, having a fantastic time. And yeah, I had an absolute ball. It's wonderful to be home and great to bring the event to you guys from here and give you a little bit of a feel for what it was like actually at the stadium with the fans and experiencing it all.
But you started your piece on the beach, and looking at that scenery behind you, kudos to you, my friend, for actually going to the rugby.
That is spectacular, Matt. You know, it is a very beautiful city. For those of you that don't know much about Cape Town, it's right down the bottom corner of Africa. In fact, at the bottom left-hand corner, southwest corner of South Africa. And we're very blessed here with some magnificent scenery, beaches and mountains, beautiful people, great food. So, yeah, at the risk of turning this into a promotion video for Cape Town tourism, I really do invite you all to come down and see for yourselves. And there's no better time than to come as rugby fans for the Sevens, which is always in the first week of December, middle of summer. You can't go wrong.
Okay, now that we got the Cape Town tourism plug out of the way, let's get to the rugby. First question, is Spain the new Kenya, the team to watch and support?
Well. They were the surprise package this weekend, and I believe they finished 6th overall in the cup competition, so making it through to the quarterfinals. I'm not sure how many times they've done that, if at all, before, but they played out of their boots. On day one, a big upset against Argentina, which had the tongues wagging in the stadium about this new team that's just come out of nowhere. And then they backed it up with another victory over Scotland. Sorry about that, Steve Lewis. But yes, Spain, and this is not football now or soccer, this is rugby, have knocked over Scotland in a Sevens cup match to end 6th in the tournament overall. So fantastic performance by them, and that's what we want, Matt. We want teams to start challenging the Fijis and the New Zealand and the Blitzbox South Africans, and now Team USA, which is right up there, who are the usual suspects in Sevens. You know, so the more competitive it gets at the very top, the better these tournaments are going to be.
Yeah, Spain is definitely an exciting team to watch, but the real exciting team to watch is the team that was dressed in red, white, and blue, the United States of America.
Well, Matt, I'm just going to take you back to what happened just before that, before I get onto Team USA. The the Blitzbok are the home team, massive, huge crowd behind them, a very patriotic crowd, got knocked out, unfortunately. But the crowd got behind Team USA. And that was one of the most amazing things. The chants of USA going up around the ground. And really because of the way they played, Matt, they've got some star players on that team, Perry Baker, of course, Madison Hughes, these guys are really entertaining the fans around the world, and they are winning fans, and they have won fans here in Cape Town after that performance. And the buzz going into the final was that this was Team USA's to lose. Based on form, we were expecting Team USA to actually get this done. Fiji had other ideas, and at the end, unfortunately for Team USA, it was a little bit of a one-sided final. But up until that point, wow, did they play well? And yes, sitting right on top of the log standings after 2 rounds of this year's competition. So wonderful performance. I think everybody back in the US should be very, very proud of Team USA and or the Eagles and how well they've played in both Dubai and here in Cape Town. And this team's just getting better and better, Matt. Really exciting. Mike Friday is doing such a good job there. And they are now probably the front runners, or one of the front runners to look at for the title this whole year. So watch out, everybody else. The US are there.
2 comments about what you just said. How much of a buzzkill was it when South Africa lost at death to Fiji, and Fiji was down a man, and it was like, was it seconds or was it the last play?
No, last move, last play.
And the Blitzboks were up a man.
Ugh, yeah, and unfortunately, Matt, this is I think it's 4 years in a row I've been to this event. The first year that I attended, the Blitzboks won it, and the place just exploded. So the expectation from the fans has been that the Blitzboks will at least make the final. And unfortunately, the past 3 years in a row now, they've been knocked out in the semi-finals. This time it was by Fiji. They were down a man. But to be honest, if we critically evaluate the Blitzboks performance, they just seem to be making far too many mistakes right now. Sure, they've got a couple of players out, maybe not the strongest squad that we've put in, but we still got some very young, exciting players there, and should be good enough to at least get to a final, especially with this unbelievable crowd behind them. The noise in the stadium, Matt, is something to behold, and it just gets louder and louder and louder as the day goes on and the liquid refreshments go down. So it's it's very disappointing for the locals. And this time, unfortunately, quite a few decided to leave for the final out of protest because they're very expectant, and so they should be. They put a lot of energy behind the home side, and unfortunately, this year again they haven't delivered. They did bounce back in the third, fourth playoff to extract some revenge on New Zealand. You would have seen at the end of day one, the last game of the day on day one, once again getting pipped by New Zealand in the last minute. Very disappointing there. So the writing was perhaps on the wall that they wouldn't go all the way after that. And indeed, the same thing happened against Fiji in that semi-final. But Fiji proved themselves against Team USA, who were also playing superbly, as we said. And we really should be talking about Fiji because they were absolutely superb this weekend and well-deserved victory in this tournament.
Yeah, the second point was going to be how the Fijians came out after they beat you guys and just really were on a mission. They just rolled to that 29-zip halftime lead over Team USA in the final. But maybe it's just the fan in me, but there were a couple of egregious and catastrophic passes made by the Eagles that facilitated that big halftime lead. And I'm thinking they're fixable errors. And the Eagles did fight back, showing some moxie, making the score respectable. But you got to tip your cap to the Fijians.
You have to, Matt. It was a masterclass. They had a very tough semi-final against South Africa, and they got through somehow. But they did the same thing in the semis and the finals. They're masters of the counter punch, And if you make mistakes against them and you throw one or two bad passes, they are gone. They have speed across the park. They are incredibly skilled and very powerful runners as well. But they are excellent at exposing you when you make mistakes. So if you make even a half error, they will turn into an opportunity to score against you. So they're great at defending and turning you over, and then running the length of the field and rounding off whatever opportunity. So they can play off scraps, or they can hold the ball. They really are just a terrific team across the park with no real weaknesses right now.
Okay, Barry, we got to take a quick break, but when we come back, we'll talk a little bit more about the Eagles. We'll also have a couple of interviews, some cool impromptu interviews with some big names in rugby that you were able to get. And we have a scrum down breakdown, if you will. Epic fail on the part of some fans. Just very funny stuff. But stay with us. We'll be right back.
You're watching Rugby Wrap-Up Blacker!
Been blind since I was 4. And I've never seen a beer commercial or a beer label. None of that stuff influences me. I drink beer because of the taste. And my beer's Pabst Blue Ribbon. It has the taste and the flavor.
What do you think's on the label?
I think there's a naked woman riding on a unicorn, jumping over fire. Oh, that's good beer.
If you're just joining us, this is a big match and a big moment as Clijsters toes the line.
You know, John, Anderson has really been struggling out there today. Huge mistake as Clijsters clinches another title. Don't let your nutrition get in the way. USANA, the official multivitamin of the WTA.
Yeah!
If you're in New York City and want to watch some great rugby, have some great food, and some great times, go to the world's best rugby pub, the Pig and Whistle on West 36th Street. And we are back. Matt McCarthy at the Fantasy Sports Network in Midtown Manhattan, and Mr. Barry Herbert in Cape Town, South Africa. Barry, you were there to witness history, because after the smoke cleared and all the math and all the calculations were done, the Eagles, after their second consecutive second-place finish, find themselves in first place in the HSBC World Sevens Series, I think I got that right, table.
Yes, Matt, that's right. They've got the runner-up position twice, 2 weeks in a row here, and I think it's the way that they're playing that's impressing so many people and winning fans. As I mentioned earlier, to get a partisan South African crowd get behind them as, I guess, perhaps underdogs when you look at the usual suspects: Fiji, South Africa, New Zealand. Team USA would probably be considered an underdog, but the way they're playing, Matt, I think that's what's so impressive. It's clinical. The passing is very crisp. They've got pace to burn all over the place, and they've got some new guys that have come in that really wowed the fans yesterday. So yeah, I think they've grown as a team under Mike Friday. He's put some structures in and found some new players that have really bolstered this team, and they've gone up a gear this year, it seems. Now they're going to take a break, which is going to probably put a bit of a break on their momentum. They would probably like to play again next week, but there's no sevens until, I believe, the next one is in late January in New Zealand. So we will see where they are when they get down to, I think it's in Wellington, where they are. And if they can put in another fine performance there, then they can maybe build a little bit of daylight for themselves at the top of that log, and then it's right on them. We've all got to start looking at Team USA for the title this year. But just like I said, the way they're playing is what's winning them fans, and everybody back home should be very, very proud of what's going on in US rugby on the seventh side right now.
Agreed. We are indeed very proud of Mike Friday and his Eagles. But, Barry, we're running out of time, so let's get to those quick impromptu interviews that you had with Seattle Seawolves coach, new Seattle Seawolves coach, Anton Moolman, and the all-time leading point scorer for the Springboks, Percy Montgomery. These are very quick interviews, so stay with us. Let's take a look at them.
Right, so I'm here with none other than Mr. Anton Moolman.
the new coach of Major League Rugby franchise and 2017 champions, the Seattle Seawolves. 2018 champions, sorry. Okay, take two. Right, so I'm here with Anton Moolman here at the Cape Town Sevens, and we are going to be talking Major League Rugby because here Seattle is your new coach for the 2018-2019 season. Anton, how are you feeling about coming to the States, pal?
Really looking forward to it. I mean, great to bump into you here in Cape Town. Obviously a Cape Town boy, and Cape Town Sevens is rocking, and I'm looking forward to getting over to Seattle in the not too distant future.
Well, we're looking forward to seeing you there. There's a lot of excitement about Major League Rugby. I mean, how are your plans? How are you thinking about Major League Rugby? Is it, it must be very new for you.
No, look, obviously I've been watching it from a distance. We've had everything in place. We've been working with the executive there at the Seawolves with Kevin Flynn, Adrian Balfour and Shane Skinner, and the guys have really helped me set up coaching remotely, running the conditioning and pre-season blocks. So I think we're in a really good place at the moment, heading into January. But ultimately, I'm looking forward to getting over there so I can get my feet on the ground and start to get the team up and functioning properly.
Well, we're very, very happy to have you there. You've got big boots to fill because you guys actually won the trophy last year, and big home fan, big base of fans already, Anton, which is very exciting.
I believe that the Seawolves have got a fantastic support base. I've watched a couple of the videos, and you can see their crowd get really involved and get behind the team, and I'm really looking forward to embracing that when I arrive. And obviously, a bit of pressure. They won the initial championship in 2018, so you've just got to go over there and build on that and embrace what the new MLR has to offer US Rugby.
Anton, it's been awesome. We're very excited to have you over there, and I can't wait to introduce you to the Rugby Wrap-Up guys, and I'm sure we'll be chatting a bit more in the future. Good luck, mate. Look forward to seeing you over the stateside.
Great, Barry. Cheers, and enjoy the rest of the Sevens. I'll see you in the States soon.
Thanks, man. Okay, so you're never going to guess who I just walked into. Behind those beautiful sunglasses, none other than the legend himself, Mr. Percy Montgomery.
Percy. Very good to be here in Cape Town. Cape Town, look at it, beautiful city.
I've been here 24 hours and I'm already running into my old school mates.
I can't wait to see the box play today, man.
Now, Percy, I believe you're coming over to the States soon, is that right? You're going to make a comeback, pal?
Definitely not a comeback, but definitely not a comeback. I think my Hammies will go.
Yeah?
But just help the boys out a bit.
Well, maybe, maybe I'll speak to I know a couple of the boys there in New York, the show Rugby Wrap-Up, they might take a shine into you. You can kick a bit in your day,
a little bit,
But it's great to see you, Percy, and listen, thanks so much, pal.
Good. That was pretty cool of them coming on with you just like that.
It was cool. I ran into so many old friends out there. Both of those guys I've known for a long time, so it was great to catch up with both Percy and Anton Moolman, both of whom have told me that they are, in fact, going to be in the US very soon. Anton is definitely at Seattle, but Percy will be floating around, and I'm sure we can get him on the show soon too.
These poor guys, they're basically flying under the radar, trying to have a good time, taking some good rugby, and then all of a sudden you, the shark, pounces on them like a tuna. Okay, we basically got to go, but before we do, one last thing. Got to ask, out of a sea of great moments, what was your favorite moment off the pitch?
Well, without a doubt, my favorite bit of footage that I was able to get there was the Hamilton's Dynamiters, which is a rugby veterans touring team that went out to enjoy the day at the Sevens. And they had such a great day and were pretty fired up by the end of it and decided to demonstrate to the rest of the fans a little bit of their scrum technique on how they like to scrum when they go on rugby tour. So enjoy that. It's quite something.
Okay, ready. Wait, crouch. Hold. Engage.
If there was but one advertisement for the Cape Town Sevens, that would be all you need. The laughter off camera gets me every time. But you know what, Barry? It dawned on me that those guys were from your old club, Hamilton, where Anton Moolman coached.
They're not the first team players, though. That's the social drinking team, the Hamilton's Dynamiters. And they're a touring team that you will see around the world playing in the various veterans 10s tournaments around the world.
So what you're saying is vis-a-vis, ergo post hoc propter hoc, that Anton Moolman, because he coached at Hamilton, is directly responsible for that epic scrum fail.
He's more of a backs coach, huh? You'll have to talk to the Hammies forwards coaches about that.
All right, Barry, we are now officially out of time, and I just want to say you were absolutely stellar, sir, in your debut as a Rugby Wrap-Up global correspondent. Well done.
My pleasure, Matt. It's been awesome.
And on that note, on behalf of Mr. Barry Herbert in Cape Town, I'm Matt McCarthy in Midtown at the Fantasy Sports Network, Studio 34, for Rugby Wrap-Up, signing off.
Barry Herbert signing off from Cape Town.